Quick, what's the most important background check to conduct when you're hiring someone new? Criminal record checks and drug tests probably popped into your head first, but you might not have thought of employment verifications. Checking to see if your applicant actually worked where they say they did might not sound quite as interesting as making sure they're not a felon, a registered sex offender, or a drug abuser, but it could tell you much more.
You're going to check somebody's ID to make sure that they are who they say they are. Well, then you need to check the resume. You need to make sure that they've done what they said they've done.
Employment verifications can confirm things like title, salary, start and end dates, job duties, why they left, and if they would be eligible for rehire. These details can tell you a lot. Was your candidate honest about their salary, or did they pad it hoping for a better offer? Did they stretch their dates of employment to cover up gaps in their resume, or jazz up their title to sound a little more important? According to a Career Builder survey, 56% of hiring managers have caught their candidates lying. Some of the fibs were just stretching the truth, but a quarter of the managers say they've discovered people claiming to be employed by a company they never worked for. It's not always easy to get to the truth.
Employers are always concerned about, I've got to get this person in the seat, and I can't wait 3, 4, or 5 days. And employment and education are always the sticky point. They're always the thing that takes the longest. Only 20% of employment verifications are available through a database. So 80% of all the employers in the United States have to be reached manually. It just takes time. You can imagine the phone back and forth, right? You leave a message, they leave a message, whatever. You send faxes, you send emails, you do everything you can to get it as quickly as possible.
But Caddell says the effort is worth it, even more so when you start talking about other kinds of verifications like licenses.
Particularly when it comes to professional licenses, of course, checking an RN to make sure that she's really a registered nurse and valid and hasn't lost her license or anything like that.
Verifying an applicant's education claims is also incredibly important. Up until recently, verifying education has been relatively easy, but it's getting complicated as more and more educational options become available. Students are moving around a lot more, and many rely on technical certificates instead of full degrees. So how do you give applicants credit for learning that doesn't necessarily come with a diploma? The National Student Clearinghouse is tackling these issues, working on ways to handle the changing workforce. We'll be sure to keep you up to date on their efforts. Homeschoolers also pose several challenges for screening companies.
We're just dipping our toe in the water in this area right now. It's a big unknown, I've got to tell you.
With growing complaints about Common Core and families trying to avoid vaccinations, homeschooling is only expected to rise. It's an area that screeners and employers will be looking at closely because it's an important piece of the verification puzzle. Education verifications do not add a huge cost to your background screening program, but hiring the wrong person can definitely damage your bottom line.